Welcome to Bike Life, a podcast from the Warmshowers Foundation. Here, we celebrate our global community of touring cyclists and hosts who make life on the road unforgettable. Through stories, insights, and shared experiences, we explore the connections that fuel every journey. Whether you're pedaling across countries or welcoming travelers into your home, you're part of a movement rooted in generosity and adventure. Discover more and join the community at Warmshowers.org. Now, let's hit the road together. Hey everyone, this is Jerry Kopech, the host of Bike Life, coming to you from the Rocky Mountains of Breckenridge, Colorado. Today I'm talking to Calliopé Georgousi, who solo cycled across 12 countries in Europe, from Brighton, UK, all the way down to Thessaloniki, Greece. Through solitude on the road and the kindness of strangers, she discovered not only the strength to ride alone, but the joy of sharing moments and stories along the way. Hey there, Calliopé. Welcome to Bike Life.
Hello there, Jerry. Thank you very much for having me.
Now, where am I finding you today?
I am in Grenoble, France.
Grenoble, France. And that's where you live, yeah?
Yeah, for the moment, yeah.
You're not on tour at the moment?
Not yet.
Okay. So I've had the opportunity to interview several solo female cyclists who've set off on these big adventures. And I'm curious, what was your motivation?
I think it was an opportunity for me to do something different, to travel. It was right after separation and it was right after COVID. So I really needed to get out of the country and go towards my other home in Greece. My research question was, where is home?
So you are Greek then?
Yes, I am indeed, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, as you know, it takes a ton of courage to go out solo. And I remember going out on my first solo trip. Did you have any reservations or concerns about going out by yourself?
Absolutely. My reservation was what to take, what not to take, where should I sleep? How long will I be doing this for? I didn't set out actually to go to Thessaloniki at the beginning. I was thinking I'm just going to go to Czech Republic to collect my Feska bike. But then my father was saying, okay, when are you going to come down here?
And where did you turn for resources or support or to learn more about bike touring? Like, were you always a cyclist?
I was very lucky because I met Sam and Becky, who are an amazing, legendary couple who has cycled Thailand and New Zealand. Sam is English and or British, and Becky is from she's a New Zealander, and they met in England and they started cycling together a lot. And I met them at the time after I was separated. They were staying with me, and then I asked them about their journeys and asked them how would it be if I did that and what would I need. And indeed, Sam and Becky had been amazing. They were like they gave me a lot of inspiration. And a lot of helped me a lot with my preparation as well.
Were you always a cyclist, or was this something that was new to you?
No, that was the type of cyclist I did was new, but I was a cyclist before. I purchased my Brompton back in 2015, and at the time I was thinking I want a foldable bike to go to work, which was about 45 minutes away. And I thought, well, I'll just take the bus. If it's raining, I'll fold the bike and I'll take the bus. But that never happened. And when I moved to Brighton, I had to get myself a proper bike with gears because nobody else had a Brompton, and I wanted to meet people. And one thing brought another. Somebody said, well, there is this group called Odax, and if you like endurance cycling and you like solo cycling because you're not very, very good with groups and following groups, and then they told me about Odax, and I started riding with Odax. I did my first 50 kilometers, then 100, then 200, then 300. So that was a completely different type of cycling where you do a lot of kilometers in a day, but you don't pack a lot. Whereas this was a multi-day trip where I had to pack more, but I still did about 100 kilometers a day or so.
That's incredible. So, talk to me about your route because I'm looking at a map and I've
Mhm.
ridden through several parts of Europe and some of these countries you probably went through, but it's a big trip. How did you decide on your route and which places to go through? Were there places that
Mm.
you kind of had on your list that you wanted to see?
Yeah, so I knew that I wanted to go to France, and I had to go through the ferry, and then after that I went to Belgium. I was going to go to Amsterdam, and my plan was to actually see friends on the way. So I knew I had a friend in Utrecht in Holland. I also knew I had a friend in Amsterdam. Um, I had a friend in Vienna, so I visited this friend. So it was a great opportunity for me to meet friends whom I haven't seen in decades. Even that was fantastic. Um, and so yeah, towns like these were such. And then I was aiming towards Prague. So I then followed much of the Eurovelo route.
Good.
And this was much of my guide, to be honest with you, because I wanted to be on a safe cycling road and to experience a Eurovelo route. It's a great project that we have here in Europe. Um, mm, so yes, and then I also followed warm showers, and then I stayed with warm showers guests, and I met cyclists on the way. It's so funny because even though I was solo, or it's a solo cycling, I hardly stayed alone.
Tell me more about that. What does that mean?
Well, the thing is that whenever I was camping, because they saw me that, I was just a single person, it's easier for people to get a chance to talk to you. And because of my bicycle setup was so different than anybody else in Europe, I was carrying not a lot of stuff, and I was on a Fesca carbon bike.
Oh, I know
um,
that bike.
yeah, a lot of people were like, okay, raising an eyebrow, go like, how come you're doing this? Why are you doing this? Or, what's your setup? What are you carrying with you? So yeah, people were curious, and they would talk to me. They would come and talk to me, asking questions about the bike, the setup, um, and this is how we would get talking. And the warm showers, yeah, well, it was a great opportunity to stay somewhere if it was raining or if it wasn't a good day. And then I'd get a chance to meet people, and we'd have like really interesting conversations about our setups, about life, about our cycling trips.
Isn't that amazing about warm showers? Like the people you meet along the way, like it's obviously it's a great support network, but think about
Mm,
the experiences, the local connections that you meet. It's so much
absolutely.
different than saying staying at the local guest house or the hostel. Like you get this local experience with people and they can tell you like, hey, if you want to go here, you should cycle on this road, or just learning and hearing their stories about their culture. It's wonderful.
Absolutely. It's actually, now that we're talking about it, I'm going to go to Prague to repair my bike.
Oh,
And I've just been in touch with three different hosts. One of them came back to me saying that they'll be happy to have me for a couple of days. And I have a feeling that I met Julien before when I was in Prague 2 years ago, and we went for a beer, but I didn't have a chance to stay at his place because he was busy with other things at that moment in time. So it would be amazing to meet him again. Uh,
interesting.
it's such a lovely connection just to feel that I'm going to Prague, and I'm already going to go at a friend's place. Isn't this
Yeah.
amazing?
Yeah, like it's a big world, but at the same time, sometimes it feels so small, right? These little
Yeah,
intimate connections.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So you mentioned your setup. What kind of setup do you have? Do you have panniers, no panniers? Are you trying to go super light?
I'm trying to go as light as possible because after a certain amount of kilos, the bike starts to misbehave, meaning that it's not as stable.
Sure.
Um, so yeah, I do have uh, tail fin panniers with the carbon setup of the tail
Yeah.
fin panniers. I have the mini panniers at the back, and I have a one-person tent, which is an MSR. It used to be the carbon fiber poles, but now I have the newest one, which doesn't have carbon fibers, but it's still quite a light tent. It's about 800 grams. Um, and yeah, I still have my mat. I still have my sleeping bag. I also have my stove, my MSR stove, one person MSR stove. I didn't get a chance to have a frying pan because it's an odd shape.
Okay.
But yeah, but I still have one one change of civil clothes, if I may say.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a change of cycling clothes, so I'd have to wash them every time that I would stop and dry them for the next day.
Right.
Um,
Sounds like you've
then
done a
I,
lot of research on your gear. You got some
yeah,
really good
absolutely.
quality items.
Yeah. And then I also, for the triangle, I've got a frame
Huh?
uh, sack as well. So where I would keep my pantry at the top. So most of the heavy stuff and my gas would be at the bottom. Um, my gears also would be at the bottom of the frame. And then I love my aero bars. I love my aero bars. So I would have an aero pack for the aero bars.
Yeah.
These are all made from Apidura. So Apidura makes the Aeropack as well as the other bags, which I'm using, and I really support them as a company. They're amazing in terms of how they care about the climate change and the environment, how easy it is for us to repair them as well.
I,
So yeah, I use that
I
a
know,
lot.
I know the founder of Epidura. So yeah,
Ah,
it's
brilliant.
a great organization.
Indeed, yeah. So yeah, I use that a lot. And this was my setup.
So when you first started out, did you realize there are things that maybe you needed or wish you had, or did you realize I don't really need this and things that you got rid of? Like what were some of those items?
Ah, that's a very good question because it was the first list I made when I came back home.
Mm-hmm.
The things that I didn't need. I I tried not to have a pair of jeans,
They're heavy and they take up space.
but in the end, I decided to purchase the lightest pair of jeans
Okay.
because I just really needed to have one pair where I could go and sit in a bar if I was in town, or I could just, yeah, um, I just needed that. Um, that's something I definitely needed. I I definitely needed my Patagonia jacket. Uh, that was, yeah, mostly actually I used it during the months of September, October.
Rain jacket or puffy jacket?
Puffy jacket,
Okay.
insulation.
Got it. Okay.
The rainy jacket, really, to be honest with you, I don't know how I made it. I think I would rest more whenever it was raining and I would stay one more day. I Because I have rim brakes and because I have carbon uh, uh, sorry, the French word comes, carbon wheels.
Yeah.
Uh, um,
What's the French word for that?
Rue.
Okay.
Um, so because of that, I avoided the rain as much as I could.
Yeah.
So I did have a raincoat with me, but that was not for just in case it was raining a little bit. If it was raining a lot, I would probably stop and wait and yeah, or I would go to the nearest place where I could rest.
Any plans to upgrade to disc brakes?
Yes, yes, because when I put more weight on the bike, it's not easy to. And other than that, I'd say there's nothing wrong with rim brakes. Really, there's nothing, especially if you're not a heavy cyclist. Like the weight of your body is. But here in the mountains, in the Alps,
Yeah.
there are a lot of downhills, And a lot of people prefer to have disc brakes in that respect.
For sure. Now, do you find certain kinds of landscape to be more interesting to you? Like, do you like coastal? Do you like flat roads? Do you like the Alps, the mountains? What do you like?
I got mesmerized by the Alps and the
Yeah.
mountains.
Yeah. Which parts?
Um, well, I so enjoyed the some of the best places were Slovenia.
Mm.
Slovakia was also nice, but Slovenia and also some parts of Prague, south of Prague,
Hmm.
were phenomenal. I remember a place near the river. Um, Yeah, I did ask locals. I did ask locals a lot of times when I was staying with Warm Showers guests. Is it like, oh, I'm looking to go towards Vienna. Which way do you think I should take? And there were moments where they were saying to me, well, they're making wine at this moment in time, or this town is a UNESCO town, so maybe you want to go across that. And so these were also kind of like decision makers. Going back to your previous question.
Yeah, and it's great because you get that information by talking to locals. It's easy to look at the app on your phone and try to figure things out, but you really get that local intel from just talking to people along the way, which kind of makes me ask you this one more question here. So, solo travel, as you probably know, can be both very empowering and also, I don't know, sometimes kind of lonely. Did you have moments of each where sometimes you felt like I am on top of the world? This is amazing. I get to go wherever I want, whenever I want. Or like, wow, I
Yeah.
wish I had someone to talk to.
Yes, absolutely. There were moments where I saw amazing natural beauty, just, just like jaw-dropping natural beauty with beautiful turquoise blue rivers that have been untouched by human nature, like by us humans. Beautiful mountains, beautiful fields with flowers, and yes, this is the moment where I was thinking I'm at the top of the world. Like the birds are singing, everything around me is just so beautiful, and I felt attuned even if I was lonely. And there were moments where I was thinking, well, I wish my ex-partner was here with me. I wish XYZ friend was there with me so I could share this beauty with them. But that would have been a different journey.
Sure, sure. So you probably felt this way as well, but there's something just deeply transformative about going slow and traveling by bike. Do you think this ride shaped or changed you at all?
Yes, absolutely. It defined me as a person.
Okay.
I had in many ways. I can mention at least four here. It made me more organized. I had to remember pretty much, I was a scout before, and I think if I hadn't been a scout, I wouldn't have the confidence to start something like this. Mm, and so, back to your question, it has made me more organized. I had to know where my things were inside out. Whenever I needed my raincoat, I would change the position. I had to reshape things as I was going along the way. I had to adapt to different situations, had to be open when new situations arose. I had to think quickly when problems came on the bike to see how I can go around them. So it has made me more adaptable, more flexible, more organized, and more resilient in that respect.
Resilient. Okay. Just
Mhm.
because sometimes things happen and the only person who's going to be able to figure it out is you, right? Because you're
Yeah,
solo.
yeah, exactly.
So speaking of that, this is a question I like to ask people from time to time because with any trip, especially of this length or this distance, things inevitably go wrong. Was there
Yeah.
ever a time when something happened and you thought to yourself, like, wow, how am I going to find my way out of this one?
Yes, it was the moment that I fell from the bike,
Oh,
and yeah, I was nearing my destination. I was 5 kilometers away after 4 days riding Germany, riding and riding. And this is a huge country, and really pleasant to ride. But I was 5 kilometers away from the borders to Czech Republic, and I was at the mountain called Marienberg. So there were a lot of rolling hills, as you can imagine. And I I didn't know whether I should go quickly on the downhill because I could see that there was directly after that there was an uphill. So I had to make a decision: should I go quickly and then uh, win some space, or should I go fast, or should I go slow and then pedal and grind? And I decided to go fast so I can take some slack. But then as I was going down, I saw that there was a pothole and I got afraid, and there was wind at the bottom of the road. So going afraid, I started actually pushing on my brakes a lot. Maybe it was a good thing that I had rim brakes, because if it was disc brakes, probably I would be off the bike. Um, but because it was downhill, I slided on the road, and I slid and I lost a lot of skin.
Oh,
Yes. So
elbow,
all my
hip,
left
knee.
side.
Oh,
Sorry?
I was going to say elbow, hip, knee.
Elbow, hip, knee, calf, and ankle.
Okay. And so what did you do?
So exactly, yeah. The first thing I did was trying to think, like, how do you say help in German? I could see, yeah, a person in the field, but they were working and they had headphones on.
Mm.
So I was asking for help and nobody heard me. But there was a house nearby, and I was so lucky that some other cyclists saw me, and they came over and they lifted the bike from me because I was under the bike. And they lifted the bike, and then I walked down, and then they gave me some first aid. We made sure that I didn't break any bones. And then I continued another 25 kilometers to arrive to my destination, to my campsite.
Wow. So you basically just dusted yourself off. Did you rinse out any of your wounds or just get back on your bike?
Yeah. It's amazing how our body is having the adrenaline that it has. It can keep us going. And I kept on going, and I went up that hill that I was afraid, and I moved on. And I pitched my tent, and I cooked that night, and
Oh,
people
wow.
were watching me, and I took care of my wounds, and then I had to do another 100 kilometers to reach Prague. So I did another 100 kilometers to reach Prague the day after.
So not even a day off. I thought maybe you might check into a hotel, take a shower, scrub things out, take a
At the
rest day.
campsite, I took a shower, but I shouldn't have taken a shower because you're not supposed to put water on the wound. My wound was about this big.
As big as your hand with your fingers extended?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And
On my hip.
were you worried that, am I injured? Am I going to be able to go forward? Did those thoughts cross your mind?
Yes. Yes. I was thinking, how am I going to go forward? I need to go. Where am I going to stay? I'm in the middle of nowhere. And so that's why I had to motivate myself to continue. Mhm.
It's
Uh,
amazing how powerful
yeah.
the human spirit is, right? Just like this fight or flight. I have to go
Yeah.
forward because what is the choice?
And then when I arrived in Prague, and eventually I went into my Airbnb,
Yeah.
and I thought, okay, now I can rest. I can have a hot shower. I can have the place to myself. I don't need to pitch a tent. I can rest. It's so interesting how the body actually shut down, because I was sleeping for 12 to 13 hours for the following week.
Yeah. Trauma, right? Your body experienced a great degree of trauma.
Mm, mm, mm,
And
mm.
I mean, how was that first day after your crash to wake up? Sore?
Yes, it was sore, and it was also difficult to change the wounds, and it was also difficult to sit. It was also difficult to. Somebody had to buy the shopping,
Yeah.
somebody had to cook, and that was me. But at the same time, I was feeling tired, and I wanted to go to sleep. So it was a very challenging time. But that's when I'm talking about resilience, like to understand that I needed to do things in a slower rhythm, but keep on going because I needed to keep on going.
Wow. That is truly inspiring.
Mm.
So I know we had talked offline about you wanting to really encourage and empower other women to set off on these kind of adventures. outside of being scared because you might crash, but are there any tips that you might want to share or to give to some of the ladies who might be listening to this?
A lot of, yeah, one thing I want to say from this experience is that it's always important. My learning from that is that it's always important to be in control and to feel safe. I don't know what the speed is when you're going downhill, but as long as you feel safe, many a times when I'm riding with boys or with other people, some people are going faster, and I have a feeling, oh yeah, I can do that, I can do that. But nowadays I'm thinking, no, stop this, go in your own rhythm, because I don't want to have another fall.
Mm.
And if I have that fall, it's going to be nasty, and it's going to be difficult to get back on the bike. So always being in control and feel that, no matter if it takes me 5 more minutes, to go downhill, other people will wait for me.
Mm.
And it's important to take my time, to respect that time that everybody has their own time. Yeah, to go downhill. And learn some techniques also, some descending techniques, some ascending techniques, if we can.
What about outside of the actual cycling, just as far as setting out on a trip, like getting yourself mentally ready, prepared, like getting the gear, learning certain basic maintenance? Like, did you know much about bikes, or how did you learn these things?
I learned much about camping as a scout.
Okay.
So one thing I had always in mind is to have my first aid gear. And the other thing was to know where it is, even if it's nightfall and I need to. I knew what I wanted to. I wanted always to have some food, and in case in case something happens, I should be able to stay overnight wherever I could with my tent. Yeah. And wait for the next day. So I would have enough food for one night if something happened. That was the one thing. And I organized my stuff a lot. I reorganized my stuff time and time again during the trip. And I found that this happened time and time again. Does that answer your question?
Yeah,
Is there
something
else?
Because there are women and men as well who may be comfortable cycling, but they've never taken off and done a big trip, like an overnight or a 1 week or a 1 month. Or how long did your trip take you all the way down to Greece?
It took me about 3 months, but then again, I was resting for about 3 weeks in Prague.
Sure.
And it was about 2,500 to 3,000 kilometers.
And so for many people, that seems audacious. Like they can't fathom doing a 3-month trip with 2,000 kilometers. Like, what would you tell someone who's thinking about doing a trip like this across Europe?
Taking off stuff so that you feel comfortable. If something happens, that you'll be okay for one night at least. But don't take too much stuff. I've seen some Warmshowers guests coming with me with 5, 6, 8 panniers, huge panniers, and I really wonder. Somebody said to me something really wise, if I could say this: that you take the amount of things you take show how much fear you have.
Ah,
you take your fears with you.
Interesting, because I also have seen people with front panniers and rear panniers and a frame bag and then a backpack, and that's interesting expression. I've never heard that before.
Yes, if you think about it, the more we try to be organized, the more stuff we take. The more we let go of stuff, the more we are open to use whatever we want, we have on our way. And I would also say one thing that I learned in Amsterdam. I was looking to make sure that I have a place to stay because of peace of mind here. Oh, I need to know where I'm staying tomorrow. But then another cyclist said to me, Calliopé, you don't really need this because you're just a solo cyclist. And here, campings in Europe, will always have one place for one person on a one-person tent. So you don't really need to organize things too much. And that really freed me a lot. Yes, absolutely.
Interesting. I love that. I know that I've done some trips before in the past as well. And I used to be really focused on where am I going to try to get to every night. And then I had met a couple from Swiss who reminded me that I have a tent, I have a sleeping bag, I have food for a couple of days. And if I don't make it to this next place, it's going to be okay because I have everything that I need and I'll get there tomorrow or some other day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Was there any place along the route that you thought you didn't really want to leave?
Oh, yes. Slovenia was amazing, as I
Yeah.
said. Um, Ljubljana was fantastic. Um, the Lake Bled was something else, and also
I've heard.
the other lake was also amazing. But I promised myself that I would like to do one month trips every year after that, and get to stay in a place more to get to know people, to get to know the culture, rather than going from one place to another to another to another every day. It was emotionally challenging sometimes, meeting people and then going, meeting and then going. So I would say Plistvice Jezero in Croatia is a national park, which is paradise on earth.
Really? Tell me why.
Um, there is an amazing landscape, beautiful landscape from connected lakes and streams and waterfalls. And the nature there is absolutely protected with an enormous amount of rangers, people who are cleaning the area, people who care about the environment. People in Croatia and Slovenia are really caring for the environment more than other people that I've met in other countries, at least Greece, for example, in
Wow.
comparison, if I could say. And yeah, you'll see the turquoise blue. You'll see it takes about 7 hours to go around that national park. To walk that, you're not supposed to do anything else. You're not supposed to stay. You're not supposed to swim in there. But it's just phenomenally beautiful. Yeah, one must see it. I think there are only 2 or 3 places in the world like that.
So when you finally arrived in Greece, were you excited to be done or were you wanting to keep going?
I wanted to keep going, actually.
Yeah.
I was excited to rest a little bit and be with my family, but I wanted to keep going. And I was thinking, okay, where do I want to do next? What do I want to do differently next time? And one of the decisions I made is that instead of going from one place to another, um, I would like to rest a few more days to a place to get to know it. Not too long, not more than 3, because
Okay.
then I'll get lazy.
I in the limited time that I've known you, you don't strike me as a lazy person. So I'm not concerned about that.
um, no, like as in like you get heavy, like
I
you're
understand.
oh, I'm good here. I'm good. I want to stay. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, I decided to have a hammock since. I
Okay.
didn't have a hammock before. I decided to have a hammock, the lightest hammock, but yes, I did find it.
Okay.
I had 500 grams of a hammock. Although I'm not a hammock person, I'm not a person who would sleep in the hammock, but I would like to have a siesta in the hammock.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I talked to people about what is a luxury item that you would carry. And some people might think that a hammock is a luxury item. Like I met
Yes.
someone from Italy who carried an espresso machine, which is definitely a luxury item. So your hammock is your luxury item, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah. My AeroPress is a must item.
Okay.
Um, and my coffee, even though
Okay.
I could do away with it. Really, I could. Um,
Well, you're in
uh,
Europe, but there's coffees available everywhere, right?
yeah, exactly. But it will never be like the AeroPress.
So it sounds like you're hooked. So is there a next big trip for you, a place you want to see?
At this moment in time, really, I've traveled so much. Um, one part of me says that I want to stay and rest and create some stability around me and within me. Um, this is one of the reasons why I decided to stay in Grenoble. But fate didn't like it, so I will be leaving France very soon. Um, but there was one place that I'd like to go this summer is Pays Basque.
Where's that?
And Pays Basque is at the west of France, the west coast of France, Eurovelo 1.
Okay.
And which is one of the best and most organized routes for cycling in comparison to the other Eurovelo routes. And it's a Eurovelo route. The route is actually by the coast, and it goes through Bidart, Biarritz, which are really, the country there is so rich. The culture is so rich. They have a language of their own. They've got view to the Pyrenees from one side. From the other side, you've got the view to the ocean. The ocean is fantastic. It's clean. It's beautiful to swim there. The beaches are lovely, fantastic. The people are friendly. They're locals. They have a lot of history. One thing I'd like to say to people is, because I meet a lot of people in the warm showers and they go for the cheapest, and they don't go to, I don't know if they go to visit museums, but it's very important to go and visit museums, to go and visit local exhibitions, to understand the culture of a place, the history of a place, to eat the local food, because really then all you're doing is just going from one place to another.
Yeah, and that's, in my experience, that's why we travel, right? Is to experience these places and maybe see the world through a different lens, through a different set of eyes that's different than our own. And through that experience, we create shared experiences and realize that as a whole, we're not really that different from everyone else.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking time to chat with me today. For listeners who have been tuning in, are there ways for people to follow along or find out what you're up to these days?
Yeah, I do have an Instagram, which I haven't updated in quite some time.
Well, get on it.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe if you have any suggestions on what I should do next in terms of blogging, or what is the next thing after Instagram?
What is your Instagram? We'll start there.
Sorry, I do have an Instagram.
Yeah,
it's Calliopé Cycles.
Okay.
Calliopé.cycles. So it's my name, CALLIOPE.cycles.
Got it. Yeah, we will post that in our show notes, and get out there and update that. Get out on some more adventures. Post some things because we want to know what you're up to.
I'll put some rides from Grenoble.
Good. All right, everybody. I want to thank you all for tuning in for my conversation today. If you enjoy our show, give us a like on your social channels, or maybe just tell your friends. These stories hopefully will inspire you to set off on your own bicycle adventure and maybe make the world feel a little bit smaller, one pedal stroke at a time. My name is Jerry Kopak, and until next time, keep the wheels rolling and the stories coming. Thanks for joining us on Bike Life. I'm Jerry Kopak, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as we enjoyed sharing it with you. Please leave us a rating and review, or just tell your friends. This helps us reach more cyclists and hosts around the world. To learn more or become part of this amazing community, visit us at Warmshowers.org or follow us on Instagram at Warmshowers_org. If you'd like to be a guest on the show or have a question you'd like us to explore, email us at podcast@warmshowers.org.